Okay. Well, hello everyone. Not a sarcastic comment, Emily.
Better
But
than
yeah.
me. I'm always sarcastic.
But hi everyone. Welcome to our week 7, day 1 of our GRFP application prep. This week we're going to be talking about research plans and PI information.
So our little warm-up question for y'all today is what research topic do you love talking about? And, if you want to, talk about why. By this, I mean, what subject just gets brought up and you just go on like a tangent where your family is just like, yeah, sure. That happens to me a lot.
Is this like a raise hand situation? Do you want us to like talk about it or like do like a little like thinking about it?
You can share if you want. You can put it in the chat or you can, yeah, just unmute and tell us.
Okay. Well, I think everyone already knows this. Hi, but I like sharks. I talk about sharks a lot. My family thinks that I talk about sharks a lot, but luckily they normally like to listen about it. I'm really interested in like shark reproduction.
Was that just me?
No.
Wait, what happened?
Dang, I really wanted to hear about those sharks.
I was just about to put a shark emoji in the chat.
Think her laptop may have died. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, that probably happened. Well,
Or
while
connection.
we
I feel like
wait.
connections are over.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say, Lexi?
Oh, just like also maybe the connection.
Yeah. Well, while we wait, Haley, do you want to share?
Yeah, I think one thing that my family always asks me about is like I work with fruit flies and we share about 60% of their DNA with them. And my parents are always like, how is that possible? Like, how do we share our DNA with flies? It doesn't make any sense. So then I have to educate them basically every time I see them.
I didn't know that. That's crazy. Does not surprise me that much, though. We have like the genes for like fish, like gills, and
I
like,
did not know that. That's crazy.
uh, look it up. Um, mo it doesn't usually like appear for people, but and it has no actual function, but very, very rarely people will actually have like a tiny hole here.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Fruit flies, though. That is very cool. Ah, Alyssa, that was my connection cutting on.
I can't hear Alyssa. I don't know if anyone else is hearing Alyssa.
Mm. Lexi, you like to talk about mangroves?
Oh yeah, I love mangroves. Mangroves are really cool. They're really cool trees and they live in brackish water. And I love talking about them because they're so cool. And there's so many different kinds. Um, yeah.
Sounds grovy. Um, I get very excited talking about ecosystems as a whole. I honestly talk a lot about sharks too. Um, but overall, usually what I get most excited about is talking about ecosystems and finding the relationships between different species that you wouldn't expect to have any relationship whatsoever. But yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move on. So Alyssa comes back audio.
Sounds good.
She can share about sharks because I was like really interested and I want to hear now. But okay. Continuing on, we have our agenda for today. As you may notice, it's a little bit shorter than all the rest of the times that we have done these, but there's still a lot of information for each of these different things. So do not worry. We will still be here probably the entire hour, which is so fun. But yeah, just a warning.
Yeah,
Okay,
unfortunately. Oh, you're back.
I think I'm back. Sorry, that was really funny timing. I don't need to continue though. I think everyone knows what I'm interested in.
I mean, if you want to still share, I think Lexi and Haley were very interested.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry if I cut out again. I'm gonna leave my camera off for the best possibility of staying on. Um, I'm really interested in top predator reproduction, because we don't know a lot about like where or when or how elasmobranchs like sharks, rays, and skates mate. And so that information is going to be super important to know about the species for like future management strategies, especially with climate change like affecting their range. It's going to be really important to know where they're currently mating so that we can predict how those areas might be affected.
Sounds very interesting.
Thank you.
Haley also agrees. Sounds very cool. Are you satisfied now, Lexi? Got to hear your little bit about sharks?
Yes, I've heard Alyssa talk about sharks like a fair amount of times, but every single time it's still so cool,
Well,
Thank
'cause
you.
sharks are the best.
right?
Sharks are the best.
I mean, they've been here like longer than or they were here before the dinosaurs. So, I mean, you know.
400
There
million
was also
years.
there
Mhm.
was someone also who just recently I don't know if they got it, but I know at Lover's Point right now, they're like telling people like don't go into the water again because they are finding a bunch of bitten seals.
Mm,
So warning for Monterey, don't go in the ocean right now.
We just
cool.
had some bites here in San Diego, at least one. Hmm.
Yeah, they did.
Think it's all the young whites right now. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I feel like the one in Monterey might be an adult though. It's about the time when they start moving up there again.
Yeah.
It could be juvenile since it was close to shore, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
cool.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Um, yeah, like Lexi said, uh, we don't have a ton on the agenda today, but unfortunately that means it's because we actually have a lot of content today, so we're gonna go back to a little bit more of a lecture style for probably most of this meeting. But next week, tomorrow, not tomorrow, Thursday. Third time's the charm. Thursday, will be a little bit more time to, work on your stuff. And then next week is gonna be really amazing. If you can make it, we're gonna be bringing everything together and having more work time. But anyway, so today we're going over the research plan, which is gonna be page 14 in the primer if you're following along in that. So first thing we want to do is show you the research plan prompt. So this is to present an original research topic that you would like to pursue in graduate school. Describe the research idea, your general approach, as well as any unique resources that may be needed for accomplishing the research goal. Include important literature citations. Address the potential of the research to advance knowledge and understanding within science, as well as the potential for broader impacts on society. The research discussed must be in a field listed in the solicitation. So, little point on that, all that's saying is, make sure that the research being discussed is a field that's listed as a field of interest and make sure it's what you are applying uh, in, like your group that you're applying in. Okay, Lexi, next slide, please. So it was kind of long. So we're going to break it down, at least some of the most important sentences in there. So the first one, present an original present an original research topic that you would like to pursue in graduate school. So what they're asking for here is just a creative topic of research that has not yet been explored. Your idea can be built on existing work, but it needs to dive deeper and explore a new path of that work. So it still needs to be new research. But as you're looking at your grad programs, you can look and see, for example, my lab that I applied for had grad students previously working on spiny lobster and the influence of temperature on certain behaviors, such as like the metabolic rate, reproduction, all of that. So I basically took their results and used it to support what I want to do with my project, which was modeling potential population shifts of the spiny lobster. So I kind of took their existing work in that lab and said, I'm gonna, this just supports what I'm gonna do over here, and I'm gonna dive deeper into what the results are saying. What might be the implications of it. Doing this or doing something similar with, literature and all of that is gonna provide critical context to the gap that you are filling. That's really the most important thing here. That your research, it hasn't been done yet, and it's filling some sort of gap. So the next point is describe the research idea, your general approach, as well as any unique resources that may be needed for accomplishing the research goal. So access to national facilities or collections, collaborations, overseas work, etc. What they're asking for here is the design of your project. What resources and training do you expect to need? It's okay to not know every step of this yet. They're not expecting you to foresee every challenge that's going to come. What they're expecting is to see that you have a good understanding of what your project will entail and are prepared to overcome the challenges that will come up during your project. No research is ever smooth, right? So what they want to see is, that, okay, in order to do your project, you need to learn how to use RStudio, or you need to learn how to run certain statistical analysis. How are you going to do that? Well, your university provides this additional class on RStudio, or maybe there's this group that does weekly stats meetings. So you're going to go join those to make sure, you have good feedback and understanding of the analysis. That things kind of like that. If you're expecting to utilize existing data, that's something you want to mention. Do you have access to that data already, or how will you plan to get that access? Maybe your school already does a lot of collaboration work with something, or with a group, and so that would fill that resource. Are you going to need to go collect your own data? How are you going to make sure you have the money for that? How are you going to make sure that you have the resources to go and do that? So yeah, I think that's all I have for this. Lexi, do you have a comment on that one? Okay, cool. If you all have any questions too, please feel free to unmute, raise your hand, pop in the chat. But otherwise, I'll just keep going through these. So the next critical sentence is address the potential of the research to advance knowledge and understanding within science, as well as the potential for broader impacts on society. So what are they asking? What they're asking is, what is the point of your project? Why does it matter? the three main things that go into this is what gap is it filling? Is it filling a knowledge gap? Is it, providing impact on a certain community? That kind of thing. Why would society benefit? Outside of the scientific community, what audience and stakeholders are being impacted by this? Is it going to affect the local economy? Is it going to help protect us, protect lives? Is it, what is the bigger picture? Why does your project matter? This section or this sentence is very critical for your project. Science is great, projects are fun, and you can ask whatever question and want to go and find the answer, but they are putting a lot of resources into you, as a GRFP fellow, to go and make an impact on the world. So they're really going to care about this part of it. So as you're trying to decide what topic you want to do and what you're going to do with it, I highly recommend you consider this question before you start writing everything else out. Definitely keep it in mind as you brainstorm.
Something super quick I want to add as well. For this prompt, if you're looking at some of these questions and you don't quite know the answers yet, that is okay. These questions are specifically made for you to talk with your potential advisor with. So this isn't something you should already know. This will be a conversation that you have with your mentor as you're writing this paper. And because it's really what it is, it's really a paper of the summary that you're going to be doing for your grad school journey. So it's really asking what you want and what things you want to research, but also what things can your mentor provide you at their facility or lab.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Lexi. You will be talking a bit in your future goals and impact plan, like why your professor is the one you picked, but this is going to be another way to show it. And yeah, it's definitely okay if you don't know how to do everything yet. Because that's the point of going to grad school, is to learn. So
Okay. And so this is a format of how you can break down that research plan because we're using the term research plan as an overarching statement, but then also as actually one of the sections where you will lay out all of the methods and all those things. But as you can see, for the research plan, you should still include those things like a background, like an intellectual merit, and also like a broader impacts summary statement. So there's a bunch of other things from our previous weeks that we've talked about that we still want you to incorporate within this research plan format. So that being said, the format for your research plan, it should start off with your research title, super quick, just like going over what your research plan is, and maybe the question you're answering. The second part is the background or problem statement. What question are you trying to answer? That should be a quarter page to about half a page. It really depends. Um, you can kind of tie that in with part of the beginning of your research plan because that will be part of your research plan is that question. So then, yeah, after the background is that research plan, about a page to about 1.25 page. Following that is the intellectual merit summary statement. Then we'll go into the broader impacts and then the in-text superscript citations and reference format. Again, this is all super brief. We're going to go into pretty much all of these sections and explain what you should be going over in all of these format sections. This is also on the primer as well. So if you have any more questions, go to that. I think the overall research plan should be about 2 pages. Is that right, Emily?
yeah, two
It's 2
pages
pages.
is the max.
Yeah.
And that does include the citations, I believe. But there's special formatting rules with the citations. And sorry, Lexi will get into that. I won't get into that.
Yeah. So 2 pages may sound like a lot of room. It is not. It is super, super, super difficult to get it down to 2 pages. Um, even like when Emily and I were doing it, we were talking about new projects that we had never really we didn't really know how worked on them before. So we were still getting a hold and we could have gone into even more detail. But just trying to get everything on 2 pages takes up a lot of your time. So you really have to be concise and prioritize the different things that you want to talk about. So for the research plan, this is more of the nitty-gritty that you're going to be talking about and the plan that you'll be setting up for yourself in grad school. So for the first, when you're writing this research plan, it's basically as if you're writing a paper about this entire graduate school journey you're going to go on to. So it has similar sections to as if you're writing like a poster or an oral presentation, but it does go into some more details on specific things. But so first you're going to start off with that research question. So you're going to provide a clear and focused question about, or that your research seeks to answer. So that can tie in again to the background information or the problem statement that is in the section before that. For the research question, you also want to indicate by when you're addressing this research question, how does this move the field forward? Again, you can tie that back to the background information. Then for the second part, you're going to be talking about the study system or organism. So this is something that is different from if you're writing like a poster presentation or oral presentation. This is something that is specific to the GRFP. So you're going to be explaining why you're using the study system or organism that you'll use to address the question and why it's the most appropriate system. So for example, one of the things that I wrote about for my GRFP was I was looking at sediment through satellite imaging. And so I explained that I was using sediment to look at nitrate because that's faster than some of the other systems used in the past. So it doesn't have to be like the super long, blown out answer. Just your reasoning and then maybe like a citation of some other people that have done it a previous way and why you're choosing to go your own novel, interesting way. And this can be another way that you can reiterate your qualifications and also the qualifications of your proposed advisor by stating the different resources that you may need. So whether it's access to a lab, whether it's access to brand new methodology that you both have come up with, whatever it may be, this is where you can write that and why this person and this school is the perfect match for you. So once you've established all of that, then you can go really into the research aim, which is very similar to the research question, but this is really answering what needs to be done to answer the research question and describe the purpose. So this is more of the methods, but not a lot of the methods because you will have a methods section. So it's just that overview of what's to come in your plan. After that, of course, you'll have a hypothesis because this is research. So that's where you'll state your concise and testable hypothesis or possible hypotheses, stating the predicted relationship between your variables. Pretty basic. It's research. After that, you'll go into the methods and describe how you'll test your hypothesis. So this can be the brief description of the overall methodology. For this part, you can use more jargon because this will be the section that someone who is in your field will look at and make sure that what you're saying is actually feasible and doable. And if they think you can't do it, they will write in your comments, I don't think you understand what this is doing. I don't think you really understand it or whatever. But that's when you get into the nitty-gritty of how you actually do things. The important thing about when you write this description as well is you should plan it like a 3-year project because this potentially would be your PhD project. So this isn't something that you do in a semester for credit, or this isn't something that you would do during a singular summer. This is something that you would do for 3 years, potentially 20 to 40 hours a week that you'll be doing work on. And this is the reason why you need to go into a PhD to support you, and you need money for this project so you can answer these questions, and it will take a full 3 years. Because it's a 3-year project, you can have multiple hypotheses, like we said, or you can expand the project to have more steps or just prove that you really do need this time and money and all those good things to complete this project. The nice thing about having year 1, 2, and 3 is that you can also build on information. So if you say like, oh, once I answer this question, depending on the answers from this, I can go on to this. So you can write it as if you're writing like a thesis and go through the different points as well throughout the year. Again, for this, you'll want to describe the major steps and highlight the creative, original, and innovative parts of your research. And then importantly, you'll also want to like assess the success that you will have throughout your project and how to deal with difficulties. This is a way that you can bring in things like scholarship to really solidify that you know what is going to happen and you know that your knowledge of the field will allow you to deal with these different difficulties and make sure that the success that you have from this project actually happens and will actually act like you need it to. For methods, you can also include a diagram or a figure. It just helps break things up and look better. Again, you only have 2 pages though, so if you're gonna do a diagram or a figure, try to choose like 1 or 2 because space is very, very limited. So then after you go through your methods, then you'll start the analysis. So of course, this is when you will describe how you analyze your data to test the hypothesis. This will be the different statistical tests and other methods that you'll use to test your hypothesis. And you can also talk about being able to develop or enhance a model or develop some other useful tools that can go to help others as well. As well as the skills that you already have, if you are missing some skills or want to incorporate some learning or techniques that you haven't yet learned, you can describe the training that you'll get either from maybe courses that school provides or from your potential advisor if they're working on any projects that relate to your project that you know you can learn the skills before you start your own. Include that as well. Okay. Again, if you have any questions, please stop us because this is a lot of information. But so once you go through all your different steps of your research plan, this is when you go into the intellectual merit summary statement. So again, the prompt for this is to open with an overarching statement that hits on the originality, significance, impact, scholarship, and potentially transformative nature of their proposed research. So this is going in again to all of that scholarship and proving that you know what you're talking about because of X, Y, and Z. So we have a couple questions that can help you consider or help you answer those questions to prove that you really know what you're talking about. So the first one is, how does your proposed research suggest and explore creative, original, or potentially transformative concepts? Second one, how does your proposed research advance knowledge and understanding within the field and across fields? What are the benefits, impacts of your proposed research within the field and across fields? How will you foster collaborations? And then how will you publish and present your findings within and across disciplines? So you might recognize some of these questions because they are pretty much the same that we have asked for the other intellectual merit sections as part of the personal statement. These questions are also very, very similar to what the NSF 5 like merit criteria is as well. But so these are the questions that you really, really want to focus on when you're talking about your project and why not only is it a good project because it answers all the questions, but why it's also something that NSF should fund in particular. So it needs to be like a complex, good project that will take your full 3 years and also help your field and other fields as well. Again, you don't have to know the answer to all these questions yet, but it is something to start thinking about and know that you want to ask your mentor or have a conversation with them about. All right. Once you talk about your intellectual merit, then you will start talking about your broader impacts. So again, we have these 2 prompts that will help you answer some of these questions. So the first one is, or a statement, a big picture overarching statement of the benefits, impacts, and applications of your proposed research to society. These are some of the questions that you can refer back to or mention in some of the background and problem statement things, but then really build upon here. So we have some examples right here talking about how the projects will be able to answer other questions across their fields. Yeah, question or statement number 2 for broader impacts is that you really want to talk about a broader impact project that you'll conduct that links to your research or research field. So this can be some type of outreach, education, or something along those lines that proves that you will help spread the information from your project, but still is connected to your research. So this should be different from your broader impact plans in your personal statement, but it should be something that's achievable and doable within your resources and time. So, for example, we have joining existing groups and describe your role and impact you plan to make. So if this is joining different groups on campus and spreading information, if it's joining maybe like a policy group and using your expertise to influence other things, that's an example as well. A more outreach and education centered one is sharing results of research with stakeholders through flyers and videos. This can also be done with different community members as well. But you just have to make sure to talk about these. And again, using scholarship to assess how, when you do these different actions, they'll actually have a lasting impact and will make a difference. Okay, so the last section of your research plan will be your citations, in-text, superscript citations, and a reference format. So this is a little tricky if you've never used CSE before, but the CSE is the Council for Scientists, whatever the heck E stands for. I think it's editors. I think it's the Council of Science Editors. If I'm wrong, sorry. But for the nice thing about the CSE format is that in text you can put superscript to talk about the like the citation that you're making, and then below you can have all the different numbered superscripts and have the actual format of the citations, which means when you're doing something in 2 pages like this, you can have just the number in the text, and at the bottom you can have all your different citations, but make them like really, really tiny so that they're still there and you can still read them, but they just take up a lot less space. Yeah, so you can use up to, or you can use 11 point Times New Roman font for your narrative and for your references section. So we have just like a bunch of different rules for remembering CSE. This is also, again, available on all the primer information, which if you need a reminder for any of these, go to there as well. You can also use things like Zotero, which will actually create a citation for you in CSE, and then you just copy and paste it and put a superscript next to the words that you were talking about. But so some of these rules are placing the superscript next to the fact, concept, or quotation being cited. Of course, if citing more than one reference at the same point, separate the numbers with commas or spaces in between them. Place the superscript with inside periods and commas. When more than 2 references are cited at a given place in the manuscript, use hyphens to join the first and last numbers of a closed series. Use commas without space to separate other parts of a multiple citation. And then if a reference is cited multiple times, use the original number throughout. That is a lot of rules. So what we have done is we have a bunch of examples for you. Because sometimes it's a lot easier to visualize them than just saying a lot of rules. So, oh my gosh, wait, can I do this little pointer thing? Oh my gosh, I can't. Okay. Are you ready? This blue one.
You're so fancy, Lexi.
I know my technical skills are really outstanding. My 4-pointed star is obviously an example of that. But so for this first one, as you can see, it has two different citations that it's referring to, and the way that they differentiated them is with that comma. And so, yeah. Um, then for this next one, I will do with the red star. Ugh. Okay, imagine that's a star. But so this one, you can place the superscript within the periods and commas. So if you, the first one that we have is again, using multiple citations, but having them differentiated with comma and then a period right next to them. And then if you want to use things like semicolons as well to separate them, you can do that as well. So we have the 8 right here, semicolon, and then the 9, and you put the period and then the comma. So that's just the best way to separate them when you're writing something like that. Next one we have, I'll use, oh, my little pen went away. Oh, there's, okay. Oh, I went so far. I was doing so well, I swear.
You're doing great.
Okay. Okay. So for this little green star, this is another example of a citation, but as you can see, they have multiple citations that are included within this quote, but there's another way to do it. If they're closer together, you can just do the hyphen. So if you're using the citations 1 through 5, you'll just do it that way instead of writing them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with commas within all of them. You can just do it that way because then it also allows you to do multiple. So then they have that 9 as well that's just separated by a comma because 6, 7, and 8 were not used, and you can just put it like that. And then at the bottom, we have an example of what the citations will look like when they're actually like in the format at the bottom of the page. So if you have, so the different references we have, you can see that there's a superscript at the beginning of each different reference, and they're in the CSC format as well. So the way that CSC formats it is you do author name. You can do that at all if there's multiple authors. Then you'll do the year that it's published and then the journal that it's in as well. So you can do it that way. There's also the issue is the Bolden number. So like for the first one, the 111 is the issue, and then the pages after that are the actual pages that the information can be found on. Again, it's kind of confusing when you do all this. So if you can use a website that does it for you, I highly recommend it because it is much, much easier.
Don't forget to double check it though. Always
Yes,
still double check.
absolutely. Okay. Oh, and I have all these citations. Okay, we recognize that it's 5 minutes till 4:45, but Emily, what do you want to do? Do you want to?
Let's just, do you, either of you have any questions? Do you already have, a research idea in mind? I think Alyssa, you already got some ideas going on, right?
Yeah, I'm already writing a proposal. My mentor here, like, is on me about it. So, yeah, I think my whole research proposal is going to be drafted by tomorrow.
That's amazing. Nice.
Yeah.
So if you want any help looking it over, you know how to get a hold of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, yeah,
Good luck on
that's,
making it 2 pages.
yeah.
He asked for 3. It's technically not for GRFP. It's like to bring to PIs. So I'm sure it will be fun when I eventually have to smush it down.
At least you have something to get you going. Hopefully your potential advisors will be blown away by it and will help you you know, revise and whittle it down to be for, you know, for the GRFP. Haley, do you have any questions, any thoughts, you know, on what you might want to do? It's okay if not.
I met with a potential advisor last week and we talked in broad strokes about her research. And there's some things that I would be interested in. I'm just more so worried about uh, the broader impacts because it is definitely health related. So I'm trying to think of a plan that has more broader impacts to bring more science rather than more health goals. So that is probably what I'm going to meet with her soon with and just talk specifics about more science.
Okay, that's great. It sounds like both of you are far along in your process. So that's amazing.
Farther along than I think we were last time.
Definitely. Yeah. So I'm glad you both have started it because then you can focus on your other things like the personal statement. Yeah. Okay. Emily, you want to go over this?
Want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. So just quick reminders, you know, our deliverables, most important thing, emails to faculty if those have not yet been sent out. You can keep sending out more. You will focus on one, you know, as you write for the GRFP, but that does not mean that you should not stop or that you should stop. Continue emailing potential faculty, continue looking for other faculty. Whomever, you know, you use for the GRFP application does not have to be the lab, the school, or the faculty that you accept and go and work with for grad school. So keep doing that. And then also you should be, you know, continuing to mind map, prepare, and start drafting your personal statement.
Okay, just a reminder, if you want to make appointments with us, we have the links here. They're also on Canvas. Um, it sounds like you both already have a really good hold on your emails to letter writers. So that's the main thing that we're glad you got already started on.
Yeah, they're ahead of the game, huh?
Yeah. Just so nice, so good.
Right?
I mean, I haven't been talking to like PIs yet. My mentor wants me to have this project proposal in hand before I like email them and ask for a meeting. So that's kind of why I'm trying to expedite it.
Got it.
Yeah.
I think that research plan will, yeah, I agree that that will definitely help you and impress your potential advisors.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they'll definitely be impressed. Um, so hope, even though, you know, you might be not having your emails out yet, you still have a big piece that's gonna have like significant progress on it. It's gonna be a lot easier to whittle it down, I think, than to create a whole, you know, couple pages of your research plan. So, but just keeping in mind our little summary timeline that you've seen a couple of times now. We still have like 2 months until, you know, the application is due. 2 months, 3 months, something like that.
I think it's 3 because it's October.
Yeah, it's like halfway through October. So just short of 3 months, probably. Still be keeping these other things in mind. Don't forget about your portal information. If you hit a roadblock on your writing, maybe just log in and make your account and slowly start working on it. So you know you're still getting something done. It shouldn't take you too long for most of the parts, but just it can add up and you want to account for technical errors. Don't forget about your transcripts, especially if you have more than one. Start getting, you know, those ready now. Letters of recommendation, those emails should be getting sent out. That's why we have the finish by early June. It's best to ask them early. Once the semester starts, things are gonna get crazy for them, just like they get crazy for us. So try to ask now if you can, get those lined up and keep them updated throughout your whole process. They also, ask if they'll be willing to review your products and offer feedback. They are in your corner, so use them. Personal statement and research plan, they take a couple months. This is a couple months of thinking, of doing the lit review process, trying to mind map, brainstorm, and get your ideas down on the paper and revisions. So we, remember this takes a little while, so keep thinking about it now. We recommend trying to have them done about a week or two before submission. Life happens, you never know. So try to have it done early, just in case. And then of course your CV and your emails. We've already been talking about those.
Okay, so next time is continuation of week 7, so we'll go into the research plan, but this will be the more next steps and kind of game plan once you start talking to that potential advisor. So this will contain things like Alyssa, if you have your research plan, you can send it to them. If they want you to start doing a lit review to get acquainted with the field, if you've never done something with it before, or if this is a new topic, just tips and tricks of how to do that lit review and also how to brainstorm your own ideas, but also looking at some of the research that potential advisor has also done from their past work as well. With that, then next week, which will be week 8, which is our last week of GAP, but it will be the drafting of everything and putting everything together, tips, tricks, more information from the primer of how to do some of that formatting. But yeah, next week is our last week. So there'll be last lectures from us, but still keep working on it.
So still some more resources for you. Oh, Lexi, is there another office hours?
Yes, this is a new office hours in August. They call it a DEB. I do not know what that stands for, but they said anyone who's interested in the GRFP can come to that and ask questions. So
That's going to be a great opportunity to ask questions that we can't help with per se, like specific research interest questions, portal information, kind of more of the what's the phrase? Oh my
like
God.
logistical things.
Yes, logistical things. We can help with, the application writing process part of it. But if you have more technical questions, I highly recommend going there. We also have our Just Right sessions. Next week will be our last week for those as well. But we have them Mondays and Wednesdays. That's a
It's okay, I'll just continue. But yeah, Just Right sessions tomorrow will be another one, and then the drive will have all of our materials from this as well as anything else you may need. Again, after August 9th, we will still be here. We can't help you with some of your presentation things for the symposium because that will already have passed. But we will still be here. Emily will be here until September 27th. I will be here until August 30th. So if you have any questions continuing, either about the GRFP or about grad school applications, SACNAS, writing products, pretty much anything, feel free to come and make appointments with us. We have the Google Calendars here and on Canvas as well, or just send an email. Yeah.
So sorry about that, y'all. The dogs were making sure I knew somebody was coming home. So anyway, coming up, we have our business card workshop that Lexi will be facilitating tomorrow. Highly encourage going. Does not hurt to have a business card. It's great for networking, taking to conferences. I've used mine a lot when I'm not expecting to make a connection. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, can I have your email? Like, oh, wait, yes, I have a business card. There we go. Nice and easy. So highly recommend going. That will be July 24th, like I said, tomorrow from 11 to 12. We also have our professional and organizational potluck or pop coming up. That'll be July 31st from 2 to 3 p.m. That one's gonna be, I'll have another flyer for you guys soon. But that's a more interactive event where you can come, have a little snack, and share tips and tricks on using different, professional or organizational applications like Google Calendar, Docs, Sheets, Zotero. We'll go over a couple of time management tools, that kind of thing. So if you're interested, watch out for an announcement because there will be an opportunity for you to share your own tips and tricks, which you can then add to your CV. So keep an eye out for that. And then we also have our Welcome to Feedback Week or WTF Week. That'll be August 5th to 8th. We know a lot of you will be presenting at the Summer Symposium, which is on the 9th. So we have every day from the 5th to the 8th, 2 different kinds of feedback meetings for you to come and get help before the meeting. So every day from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we will have a just write or writing feedback time. We can come have designated writing time to work on your GRFP or CV or whatever other applications you want to work on. And you can ask us for feedback, ask questions, anything like that. Then we'll also have our practice presentation and feedback session from 2 to 4 p.m. every day. And that'll be a great time for you to come and, get that kind of rough first presentation out of the way and practice what you want to say. You can even, if you haven't presented before and you're a little nervous, you can, ask us anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all we got. Thank
Thanks for
you
coming,
all.
guys.
Sorry, today was more content heavy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.